Hi, I'm Lee from IDLES and I'm here to talk about Gary, my new pedal with Earthquaker devices for Bored to Death. So the reason Gary was created was because I used to have this, which is the grey channel. And this was like my go-to effect for things like choruses, and I only ever used the left side. Is that right? Am I looking right? The left side on neutral, so the green side on neutral, with it mostly like 12 o'clock. So I spoke to Jamie and I asked whether or not he could make me a version of it where I can take off everything, because I kept hitting this little switch. So then, and if you do that on this pedal, if you accidentally switch it onto a germanium, it just completely changes the entire sound. I used to get lost in the mix by accident. I'd turn around and wonder what's going on. So Jamie was kind enough to make me this, which was basically just the green side with no switch. So everything is exactly like for like, no frills, overdrive. When we talked about adding another side to it, adding something else, what do I want, what would I like to have on my board? There was this fuzz that I loved a long time ago. It was like where when the harder you hit it, you hit the noise floor. So we wanted to recreate something like that, and when I spoke to Jamie, he understood it fully, and then we had a couple of renditions made, this one being one, but this one actually ended up being a bit too bog standard fuzz, which we found a bit boring, so we skipped that one, and then we moved on to Gary, which is the version with the square wave fuzz that can implode, or it can go crazy, it can do normal fuzz, or you can hit the noise floor, which I can show now. So this is just the green side of Gary. So that is just Gary, and it's just the overdrive section. It has a lot of gain, but I can also pull all the gain out and just push the volume. Or I can pull the gain right up and hit like a distortion. And then if we turn that off and turn the right side on, we have the fuzz. So the harder I hit it, the more I hit the floor, or the more I push the pedal. But then I can adjust that and let it be more fuzz. So no matter how hard I hit it, I'm still getting the same sound. I can obviously pull the volume up, or I can get it all the way and it just completely dies. And then it'll come back. So then we realized when you get to that point, it doesn't really do much. So we added an expression pedal, so then you can go through the effect, which will move this square wave fuzz on the top right, which is called yes, exclamation mark. Gary doesn't really sit in the signal chain in any one place. The good thing about it is I move it around because I use the switching system. So the majority of the time it is used post EQ as a boost or a overdrive, or, like a gain stage. But I can move it before, and I do sometimes, depending on what it is I need. So like if I want to take the sound of Gary and thin it a bit, I'll put the tone job after it, so I can add or take away the highs, lows, whatever I want. I primarily use Gary in choruses. As a bulker, as sort of like a harder hit. So things like with the tone job and Gary together is like most of the Joy album choruses, like Never Fight a Man with a Perm, which is. And then, if we turn that off and turn the right side on, we have the fuzz. So the harder I hit it, the more I can pull the gain out and hit the noise floor, which is. So I use that. I think Scum as well. So it's just like my distortion tone is created by gain staging my always on pedal, which is the EP booster, going into the tone job, going into the Gary. The pedal is primarily overdrive and fuzz, and it is always fuzz into the overdrive. So the right side of Gary will always be the first thing if you've got both sides on. You can turn both on, you can have them both off. If I was to just use the one side, the left side of Gary, which is just the overdrive, and then I just turn the right side on. And then I put the left side back on, it will be the right side going into the left, never interchangeable. So it's always fuzz into overdrive, which essentially just boosts the fuzz a lot. And I guess adds some gain, but you can also pull that out. So. So what I did there was actually turn the envelope filter back so it's more continuous. I pulled the gain off of the overdrive side and just turned the volume up on both the sides, which gives me something that I've always missed in a fuzz pedal. Well, a lot of the time I miss in a fuzz pedal is volume. So like most fuzz pedals I've ever used, every time I've tried to say use it for a solo or pull it into a sound, because there's two of us, me and Bowen, a lot of the time as soon as I put the fuzz on it, we disappear, like it just vanish from the mix. So yeah, I can pull the gain stage back and I can pull the fuzz so it's more continuous and turn the volumes up so it stays present in the mix, which makes it a lot more versatile. The controls on Gary are go is gain, and that's it is volume. And then on the other side, the S side is the long worded fuzz thing, and the oosh is volume again. I mostly play through single pickup Fenders, always on the bridge. As you can see on this one, I've taped this down so it doesn't fall up, because I was using it the other day and I kept hitting it. Most of my guitars have that removed, so I only play back here, but they're all on tour. I usually, remove the tone knob, do bridge pickup into volume. It's always, I mean 90% it's single coil bridge pickup, which is a lot thinner, more aggressive sounding. The one I have in my pink Mustang, which is one that I use a lot, is actually like a creamery mid boost pickup. So let's say it's more on the aggressive side, bridge, mid boost, volume straight into it. Some of the new pedals on the board since the last Bored to Death are the Montreal Assembly Count to 5, the Warm Audio ring mod, which actually replaced the Muga Fuga ring, because it actually has the option of doing the low, which I'll get to in a second. The Twin Peaks, I think that might be new, I can't remember, but if it's not, it's just something that I use all the time. I mean, it's one of the best tremolos you can get by Drolo. I think I had 2 big boards before. We kind of reduced it down into this with the switching system, and I have a satellite board for expression, which we'll get to in a second. So the Count to 5 is a granular delay, which I use in the middle 8 of Jungle. It's just that pedal on its own, with an expression which I just ramp up as it goes. It just goes a bit more out of control and in on itself. And then we move on to the ring mod. So I got this so I can use the low frequency, and one of the fun things I use it for on Tank, which actually involves Gary and the Twin Peaks with the new expression pedal, piano expression. I'm using the piano expression to adjust the speed of the tremolo on the Twin Peaks, and I have the fast and slow ratio of the Twin Peaks set with the expression error, so it stops and it starts at a certain speed and stops at a certain speed, so it's shortened its ratio. And I have a little box on the top from Fretronics, which actually tells the pedal whether or not I have an expression pedal in, because sometimes if you have one plugged in, it overrides the pedal and it only functions with an expression pedal, and sometimes I like to use it in two different ways. So that now, because it's on, is telling the Twin Peaks I have a piano expression in, which I'll use now. So it goes like this. So it's just a hard square wave, fuzzy tremolo part. Another song Gary has used on the new record Tank is on the choruses of Dancer, where it's a large sort of splash chorus with heavy reverb. So Gary into the delay pedal and the reverberation machine. And it's basically Gary is the gain of the chorus, and it's just that on its own, and it goes like this. So it's providing all the power into the reverb and delay.